It's what do you look for when God is about to bless you? Is that right? What are the things you should look for? And I back that up with a question. So my question to that question is, so you hear me say this all the time, that every statement, question, or whatever is filled with assumptions. Okay? And those assumptions can be determined even just by the definitions of the words that are asked. All right, you following me so far? The definitions of the words that are asked, if you break that down, wisdom is 5 questions deep. So my question is, what are you calling a blessing? Because things that I know this from wisdom and experience is that things that we think are blessings can be bad, and things that we think are negative can be good. You know, we all hate to wait because we think it's negative, or we all get sad when maybe somebody is removed from our life, but it might be the biggest blessing you could ever receive. It says if you receive patience, you'll be complete, lacking nothing. And when God removes somebody from your life, in most cases, He's protecting you from something. He's protecting you from yourself. He's protecting you from them. And so God removes people from our life, and we get sad over it. And He's like, you can thank God. You can just thank Him because He knows the future. And He knows your weaknesses. And He knows that that was just, you've heard my statement, the devil doesn't have to get to you. He only has to get to the person next to you. Because the person next to you will influence you to make the wrong move, to do the wrong thing. And so we're looking for the devil coming with a little pitchfork and stanky breath and brimstone, and he's not. He's going to come to you. Oh, devil is a woman. She wears a short red dress, black braided hair, shoulder length. I was taught right from wrong. She came on so strong. She didn't even give me time to think. Before I knew it, the devil drug me down on the other side of New Orleans. Mama, the devil you told me about sure looked like an angel to me. So what's your definition of a blessing? Most people that win the lottery, let me say this. Most poor people that win the lottery, winning the lottery is the worst thing that could happen to them. And they lose it all. What the statistics prove that they lose it all within 7 years. So you're not poor for a lack of knowledge. Or you're not poor for a lack of money. You're poor for a lack of knowledge. Because you're financially not smart. So that same not smartness, again, wealth is not how much money do you make. Wealth is how much money can you keep. How much money can you invest? That's wealth. Getting money, whether you get it through the lottery, whether you're a NFL athlete. You know how many athletes, professional athletes, are broke As soon as they get injured or whatever, they have enough money for 1 year, 2 years, and then they're just busted. And they had millions, millions and millions, tens of millions. But they had a poverty mindset. You know, so you don't get rid of the mindset, you're not going to get rid of poverty. Poverty will just take everything from you. Take all your money that you earn, poverty will take it. So, the question is, what is a blessing? God says it's so if we read the Sermon on the Mount, which is considered the greatest biblical, oratorical, theological messages, the Sermon on the Mount that Jesus preached, everything that he said was the opposite. He said, "Blessed are the poor in spirit, for they shall inherit the earth. Blessed are those that are hunger, for they shall be filled." Well, being hungry isn't a blessing. Being poor isn't a blessing. So he flipped everything around in the Beatitudes. He says it's more blessed to give than to receive. Right? So we're always out here trying to receive, and he says the blessing is in the giving. So everything in the kingdom is the opposite. So waiting is good. We hate waiting. Well, why? You shouldn't hate waiting. Waiting is great. There's promise, there's so much blessing in waiting. One of the things is you'll be complete when you'll receive patience and the trying of your faith. No one likes trying of their faith, but it says there's a reward for the trying of your faith. There's a reward for waiting. It says those that wait upon the Lord will renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings as eagles. They shall run and not be weary. They'll walk and not faint. So I guess I'm just saying, what's your definition of a blessing? Now, if you have financial acumen, if you have, if you understand what real love is, in fact, that maybe you wouldn't rush into a relationship. We all want companionship, and we're waiting. Oh, I'm waiting for a companion. It'll be the greatest day. I find the devil is a woman. When I find my companion, and yet, if you understand the scripture of what is going to be required of you when you find a companion, it's you must lay down your life. It doesn't talk about you getting anything. You don't get nothing. The Bible says, if you're going to be a husband, it gives you a definition of what a husband is. He lays down his life. He loves like Christ loved the church, and he would die on a cross for them. That means you work your 40, you come home, you just start your real job. And that's cleaning, vacuuming, and scrubbing, tucking the kids in bed, and everything like that. You don't prop your feet up, watch TV, and honey, get me a sandwich. You're on the clock now. You got to be dad. You got to be husband. You got to be, Mr. Fix-It, Mr. Repairman. That's what being a companion's going to look like for you. That means she gets to pick where you eat. That means you're always, adapting and changing and doing everything uh, uh, on her behalf. And likewise, it says women, oh, you're going to get a companion. Well, your job is to obey, submit. You ready for that? Most aren't. That's why we fight with one another. I don't know. I think sometimes we live in this fantasy world of blessing. We don't understand what a blessing is. I said, my wife doesn't wear the pants in the family, but she does wear the boot, and she keeps it right up my rump. And I need it. I need it. And I can be angry about it, pull it out every once in a while for a little relief. But very quickly it goes back in there. Every one of us needs a boot in our assumptions. So we assume that a blessing is a blessing. You might want to break it down. So the other thing you look for is beware of the counterfeit. Because for every authentic thing, remember, the devil is the ruler of this world. He's in control of most of the stuff that goes on around you in the natural realm. The natural realm is his world. Okay? So don't assume that, and again, I would also say, do you have a renewed mind? How renewed is your mind? Do you know the word? Do you know what a blessing looks like? When they teach bank tellers what to look for in a counterfeit, they don't bring up a bunch of counterfeit money and say, we want you to study this counterfeit money so you can see what the counterfeit looks like when someone tries to pass it off to you. They tell them to study the real thing. Know every corner, every thread, how many serial numbers are in things, how far does the ghost thing come under, how far over does it go in all the way, is it just on the right hand 1/3, or does it go all the way to the middle? What does the scroll, the leaf, the Florida, whatever, who's the secretary of the treasury, for that year? What letters, how many letters and how many numbers are in the serial number? Look at the corners, look at on the real thing. We're studying the fake. God's word is the real thing. So when we renew our mind with the word of God, then we become transformed, not conformed to the world. So now I'm transformed by the renewing of my mind because I'm studying the truth and I'm led into the truth. Now, whatever the angel of light, who is the devil, tries to pass something fake or something phony off on me, I spot it immediately. I'm not calling a blessing because it's shiny, it sparkles, it has money, it has power, it can change my external world. I'm a spirit. I'm not a body. My body, if I know the truth and if I'm living, then my body needs punished. The old man needs crucified. My body needs buffet. I buffet my body. I punish my body. I discipline my flesh. So I'm not looking for comfort. I'm not going to call comfort a blessing. I'm not going to call someone who flatters me and strokes me and gives me what I want a blessing. Because it says, the Bible says, God chastens those he loves. Correction is love. I have a quote question. Do you want to be stretched or do you want to be stroked? Ah, we say that till the stretching comes, till we're put on the rack. You know? No, the flesh wants to be stroked. The carnal mind, the carnal man wants to be stroked. And it's just, I'm just saying, it's so easy to associate comfort and ease with blessing. You know? A challenge is a blessing. When God looks at you and says, they are fit enough for this challenge. They are the man for the job. They are the woman that I'm going to send out to face the giant. What? So being ready, being fit, being disciplined, being prepared. So I shared this. We were meeting with Darryl Green, the Pro Football Hall of Famer, yesterday. And he said that his attitude was, what did he say, Jermaine, about right now? You know, my right now is coming. And he said he was always, when he didn't start playing football till he was in the 11th grade. And he played JV. He didn't play varsity till his senior year. And then he didn't get a scholarship for college. And he just walked on to a small, unknown college, little school with no scholarship. And he played for a year. And then one of his buddies passed away, one of his boys that he grew up with from elementary school, who went to college with him but didn't play football, was killed in a car wreck. And it just made him so distraught, he dropped out of college for a year and a half. And anyways, he ends up becoming, after 3 years at a no-name college, he gets drafted in the NFL in the first round. And my question to him was, how did you, like, you're at this, kind of no-name school, you don't have a scholarship, you're not a first-string player, like, how did you, like, what made you have the attitude that I'm just going to keep going? I'm just going to, keep showing up and not quit. And he said, I always had this, right now mindset. And that was at some point in my life, my name's going to get called. At some point, my right now, the coach is going to look around and go, Daryl. His nickname was Duck. That ain't that great of a nickname. It was Duck. Duck, get in the game. That going to look around, somebody's going to say, right now. When? Right now. And right now, I have to be ready for the right now. I have to be prepared for the right now, whenever that is. And so there's a quote that says, success is when opportunity meets preparation. Success, or you can say, when preparation meets opportunity. Success is when preparation meets opportunity. And that's that right now. But can I tell you that right now has to start, in many cases, years before. Most people aren't successful. Most people don't get their blessing because they're not prepared. Because if it's a blessing, God's not going to give you something that He's not going to give you $10 million, and you don't know what to do with it, and then all these knuckleheads coming out of the woodwork, and then suddenly you have all these options. You think you have all these options because you don't have a renewed mind, and then you start blowing money. You start making friends with the wrong people. People start, and your life turns and it becomes a bigger headache than anything. Elon Musk said in an interview a few years back, he said, I'm thinking about giving all my money away, having none. And they're like, what? He said, yeah. He said, money makes you a target for all kinds of evil. People come out of the woodwork, they try to sue you. They backbite you. They make up lies about you, jealousy, just all kinds of things. And if you're not ready for it, money is not that great. If you don't know what to do it, why? Because now you have a target on your back. Everybody wants your money. Everybody becomes jealous of you. Man, I have seen people, I have seen families where homeless people have died. The family didn't have the money to scrape together enough for the funeral to cremate. Cremation is the cheapest form, and the family members never called this guy who lived down on the river and in people's tool sheds most of his life. And he gets hit by a train down here. And I have to notify the family. First, I have to find the family. Come to find out, they just live right over here. He had some daughters and everything. And before it was all said and done, and I'm putting him up, he's living in this place. I fixed up a place for him. He ended up giving his life to Christ and everything, but he was a very bad alcoholic. This is before we had the ministry. And I ended up fixing up a little apartment for him, got him off the streets, was working him on my lawn care thing and everything. And he relapsed one night and, thought he was Superman and was going to act like he was going to stop a train. But when I contacted his family, And like I said, he had little as nothing. And they started fighting amongst themselves and fighting with me, thinking that I took his tools or some of this stuff. And it's like, you weren't even in your daddy's life. You know? I put the roof over his head. First off, I haven't taken anything. But my goodness, like, you know, he maybe had $100, maybe $200 worth of stuff. And that stuff made them get stupid. So it don't matter if it's a few $100s, several $1,000s, or whatever. It puts a target on your back and people get real stupid. You'll see just how stupid your family is. And you'll see what love or use looks like when they can't call you, they can't check on you, they can't drive across town, but now suddenly you got your back SSI or something, you got a chunk and say, hey, yeah, I've been meaning to call you. Yeah, you've been meaning to call me for 5 years. Missed all my birthdays, didn't want me around at Christmas. Yeah. Anyway. So you got to know what the counterfeits are. And you got to be ready. You got to be ready, prepared, a renewed mind. You know, you got to be able to hold things up to the light. God's word. You know, is this real? Is this authentic? Is it just, is it just paint on a pig? Did somebody just, is somebody just polishing a turd and trying to hand it to me? Put it in the sunlight. Watch it start melting. The stink will come out. So, blessing. We're talking about blessing! I've just seen it so many times. And then what I've also seen is people who are about to truly receive their blessing. God will delay to reveal the heart. God will delay the blessing to reveal your heart. Are you in it for the blessing? Are you in it because it's the right thing? Are you doing it because it's your heart to do the right thing? Or are you doing it simply for the reward? You know, there's a difference between showing up for your paycheck and showing up because you enjoy the work. You enjoy the camaraderie of your coworkers, what you're producing, you feel like it has a purpose, right? And the people that are just in it for the paycheck, for the reward, and not for the purpose, for the paycheck and not the purpose of it, is for the paycheck and not the passion of it. Well, in God's economy, God will delay. God will delay the paycheck to prove you through patience, to prove your passion, and to even prove your purpose. See, because if you're passionate about it and you see, and the purpose, so you got to have, so there's a saying that your why you do something, if you're doing it for the reward, if the pain becomes too great, the reward might not be great enough for you to stick it out. Okay? But if your why is greater, if your why, what is my purpose? Why am I doing this? You know, I hated going into the factory, especially in the wintertime. You know, and you're working a shutdown, or you're putting in 10 hours a day. You go in, you know, at 6 or 7 a.m., it's dark. And then you get off at 5 and it's dark. So you go in the dark, you check in, you clock in, you know, you're fenced in, and you come out in the dark. And it's cold, and you go home and you hate it. Hated it. But you know what? I loved my children more than I hated the job. I wasn't doing it for me. I wasn't doing it for the job. My why was my wife and kids. So my love for my wife and kids and my love for my purpose was greater than the pain of going to a job I hated. You understand? And so those kind of things are going to be proven. And what worked in me in those times was, for one thing, I proved myself to my wife. I proved that I could be depended on. That I wasn't going to quit just because I hated the job. She knew that next week rolled around, every 2 weeks or every week, there was going to be a paycheck there, and she didn't have to worry about, oh, did he lose another job? When's he going to get another job? All the burden and responsibilities on me. We have to live off my paycheck. So I proved myself faithful to my wife. My marriage got stronger because I was showing her I was willing to do the hard thing. So do you understand? The payoffs were way more than the paycheck. And I was working for a paycheck, but what I got out of it by working through the pain was then when I told her I want to start my own business, she could have faith in me that I would do whatever it takes, that the bills were going to get paid, that this just wasn't some harebrained dream because he doesn't want to work a job. No, I've seen him work a job he hates for years and years and years. I can trust him. He's not going to let me and the kids go hungry. The bills are going to get paid. Because you got to be in agreement. I was ready to quit the job a long time before. But all that would have done is caused strife, because the ups and downs of entrepreneurialism and the lean times and the hard work and the long nights and the little pay when you're starting a business or whatever, it's rough. So you got to have a partner that believes in you. Well, she wouldn't have believed in me if I hadn't have put in all that time at the factory, at the miserable job that I hated. That made a believer. To her, Like I can believe in him. So, you gotta have. So what was my point? My point is, God will often delay the blessing to prove to you, well, how bad do you want it? Are you going to quit when you don't get rewarded soon enough? You just want the certificate? It was never about the certificate. It was about living a lifestyle of preparedness and change and renewing of the mind and everything. The certificate is the least of the reward. What you got was patience. What you got was structure. What you got was a new frame of mind. You understand? That's what you got. But some of us, if we're just working towards the certificate and we skip all of the pain in it and we don't just absorb it and consume the pain that actually is what forms us, the pressure is what forms us, the pain, the correction that we don't like, the stretching and the challenging that we don't like, then because I just can't I get a shortcut? And then somebody comes along and goes, hey, you know what? We have a 30-day program you can go to. You can get a certificate in 30 days. How many have tried that? You shouldn't want the certificate. What you should want is the process, the pain, the procedures, the patience. That's what you want. You can't put a price tag on that, and there ain't no certificate or signature on a certificate that can give it to you. That's only proven in pressure. We'll just stick with the P's today. That's how you get it. Proof is in the pudding.
So, Pastor, what's the difference between, and I had that in mind just listening to you, and it can be added on the list. So the Bible talks about the love of money, and I see how you talk about money, awards. So what's the difference between a hard worker that gets money or award versus the person who loves it? Plus, if I add a three-way, the person who brags about the money or award, especially nowadays how social media and stuff is. Yeah. Like, for example, you have a student that graduated, I got the award, I don't need it. Somebody hits the lottery or won the poker game. I just won $100 million. I don't need nobody now. Even in school, you might hear some kids like what you're saying about paycheck. If it's a job, it's payday. I'm good. For children in school, it's Friday. I don't have to do no work.
Money, rewards gotten easily, like I said, are often no time or are hollow. They're hollow. It's like a vapor. Why? Because there's no substance there. You can get money, but if you're putting it in pockets with holes, if you're putting it in something that, then it's not a reward at all. I've seen many, and this was maybe more so back in our day growing up, back in the 80s and stuff, where you still wear 1970 cars and were still very prevalent. Muscle cars are still they made a lot of cars that were very fast still back then. And you don't know how many, seemed like every year, all through high school, some spoiled kid got killed in a car wreck. His daddy gave him the nicest, had the sleekest, sexiest, fastest car, and it killed him. You know, because he got something that he wasn't ready for. And it killed him. It happened almost my whole high school year. It happened. I see Paul over there shaking his head. He probably knows many a rich kid has died as a teenager. Or someone else. Yeah. Maybe they didn't die, but one of their buddies did, and that's heartbreaking. Because, you know, when you get something before it's time, when you receive something, there's not the appreciation. There's not the temperament, the discipline, the control. You know what I'm saying? That it takes. There's not the faithfulness. There's not even in marriage. You know, like I said, like if I would have tried to start a business when I hadn't proven myself to my wife, that took like we were about 10 years married. Well, maybe not 10. 7 or 9 years married before we were at a place in our marriage that she could believe in me that I would put bread on the table no matter what. Where she could trust me that, you understand, because what people will trust is a guaranteed paycheck. Well, how much I'm going to create a budget, we need X amount of dollars, and you need to be bringing home, you know, $1,500 every 2 weeks. You know, I need to see that 600 every week. You know, so how many weeks do I have to do this? Oh, for about 7 years of weeks. About 7 years of weeks, and then maybe I'll be like, okay. And then I say, honey, you know, I really want to start my own business, you know. And then don't quit your day job, but start it on the side. I still want my 700. If you can prove that you can bring in another 300 on top of this 700 by, you know, working till midnight, coming home and then going out and working your side job, then okay, all right. And then she starts seeing the money. Well, honey, you know, I worked this weekend and I made more money. I worked evenings, and then I worked the whole. I made more money than I made on my paycheck. And I did it in 30 hours. And I made $1,000 in 30 hours, and I'm only making, you know, 600 working 40. Well, how long do I have to do that? How long do I have to work 70 hours? Oh, for weeks and weeks and weeks, and prove it, and prove that you can do it, and prove that you can be faithful, and prove that you'll drag your assumptions up out of bed, and still go to church too. We ain't missing church. That's 3 times a week. Then she's like, well, maybe I can trust you to pursue your dream or start your own business. I went, well, thank God, finally. Why? Because how can 2 walk together except they be in agreement? So you gotta prove yourself in all things. In all things. And the biggest thing is you have to prove yourself to yourself. You have to prove yourself that you're not going to quit on you. Well, how do you do that? You're not going to prove that unless you put into the fire, unless you put to the test, unless you do something hard. And like I say, you don't get the endurance, the little brownie badge. Jordan, were you in Girl Scouts or Brownies? Well, you don't get the brownie badge of endurance. They give little badges and pins on your sash. With Boy Scouts, you don't get the endurance badge for standing, I say this, you don't get the endurance badge for standing in line at the Dairy Queen waiting on your ice cream cone. You ain't gonna get the patience badge for standing in line at King's Dominion waiting to go on the roller coaster or get your cotton candy. When patience has its perfect, you want the patience badge. You want the endurance badge. You want the survivor badge. Last man standing. No quit. You have to do the hardest thing. You have to be the baddest man. You have to be the toughest woman. You have to be the one that outlasts everybody in a grueling, miserable condition. You have to wake up, put a smile on your face, say, I'm going to do this. I hate it, but I'm going to do it. How long do you have to do that? For 7 years of weeks. 52 weeks, 7 years. I'm just saying. Success isn't a mystery. There is no mystery behind success. It's beat everybody else and be better than everybody else. And it's not for the faint of heart. So if you look around and you go, someone's better, well then you need to step it up. You need to up your game, or you're going to lose. I don't know why we come to Jesus and we think, well, Jesus is just going to do everything for me. Can't he just give it? He just gives it to me. No, he literally doesn't. What he wants to give you is something eternal. You understand, when you come to Jesus, blessings are to be eternal. They can't be spent and they can't be lost. When he actually puts something in your hand, I don't care what it is, he means it to last forever. He means it to be an eternal blessing. Why? You're an eternal being. So when he brings someone into your life, he doesn't expect it to be all roses and champagne at the beginning, and then 3 years later it's hateful and negative and it's broken and they're no longer in your life. Even friendships. He expects them to flourish and grow, and for them to always be able to, like I said, I've had some hard relationships. I've had people do me wrong. I've had people speak bad about me. But They were in my life. It was a God thing that they were in my life. And when they were in my life and when it started out, it was good. We contributed both to one another. It was of God. And then somewhere along the way, either their immaturity or my flaws or their personality, or maybe they moved or whatever, for whatever reason. And even in some cases, yes, there was negative stuff. But you know what? I worked very hard at making sure that I was clean, I was right, that I bent over backwards to forgive, to go the second mile, turn the other cheek. And even those negative people, maybe that God took out of my life, they can't speak bad of me. And we now have, the relationship is okay. You understand what I'm saying? Why? Because if they were truly put in my life by God, then it was meant to be a good thing. You know? And it was meant to have a lasting goodness to it. Something good, right? He works all things together for good. So over time, things should be good. Right? Now, if you're just about get it quick and it's about me and consume it or whatever, it can go from good to bad to even non-existent. Like God is into lasting things, you know, things that last. Most people, well, we're talking about this, there's not a homelessness problem. Homelessness. Is that right? Homelessness. Lessness. People who are shelter deprived. Their problem isn't that they're shelter deprived. The problem is they burnt every bridge in relationships, and no one wants to give them a couch. No one in there that they know and that they've been in relationship and that has known them is willing to open their door and let them sleep on a couch. They have a relationship problem. Their relationship problem has made them homeless. They have a work ethic problem. They have a rebellion to authority problem because they lose every job because they curse out their boss. They can't get along with their coworkers. They're lazy. They're whatever. That's why they're homeless. They're homeless because every house they go into, they're dipping in someone's purse, they're taking their silverware, they're stealing their whatever. Last time I had you in here, my chainsaws went missing. So no, you can't sleep in my house. Right? Last time I was in here, I went to work and I came home and you had some girl up in here and you were snorting a line or whatever. Or I come home, you know, you eat everything out of the refrigerator and you're drunk. And I'm having to pick up beer bottles and everything. I'm picking up after you and you don't even pay the rent. You don't even help out with nothing. Do you see? There's not a homelessness problem. There's a disrespect for other people problem. People that have homes, friends, family. So I just solve those problems, you'll solve homelessness. I'm serious. I would love to have somebody live with me who contributes more than they take. I come home, the gutters are clean, the deck is washed off, the driveway's cleared. Oh my God. I feel bad for just offering you a place to sleep. I feel like I need to pay you. You did about $1,000. You contributed about $1,000 to this household. Please don't go. Please don't go. Right? Right? Man, I come home, the baby's fed, the house is clean, the laundry's all folded and put away, supper's on the stove. If I didn't have a wife already, I'd marry you. You can live with me forever. Lawnmower's fixed. That old mini bike I've had sitting under the shed for 5 years. I come home, it's shined up, it's running. My goodness, man. I think you're a keeper. I don't know where I was going with that, but I just solved homelessness. Go fix somebody's mini bike, clean some gutters, cook somebody a meal. So, we spoil people. When people get rewarded without putting in the work is the reward. The work is the reward. It really is. Not the paycheck. The fact that you're increasing your capabilities, your skills, you're learning something, you're getting better at something. You understand? That's the reward. That you're exercising a muscle, you're getting built up in employment. You're building an exercise, you're learning how to wake up on time, you're learning how to go to bed, you're learning how to interact with people, you're learning all these skills, you're creating a personal self-discipline and a personal structure. Guess what? When the job's no longer there, if you've got the personal self-discipline and the personal structure, you've got a value that no one can take from you. You can take my job, but you can't take what I learned. You can't take what I know. You can't take the discipline and the structure that I have. When we were on hard times at one point in the ministry, and I set out this message to a bunch of different pastors, and I said, it was just this brief, short message. I know how to start a ministry. I don't know how to close one down. And we were at that point, just financially and stuff, where I was like, I can't do this anymore. Like, money wasn't there to pay the payroll. The IRS was coming after us for taxes. I'd have 6 paychecks just stacked in the drawer, and have to go to the bank. Is there money in there? Can I cash my paycheck from a month and a half ago? And the stress. And so I was speaking to another pastor, and he said, And I had given the church part of the ministry, the church, to another pastor, and he wanted to go in a different direction. And after a year, the church just closed down. And so then I'm just taking all these, and we did that for like 2.5 years. And so somebody, the minister said, well, he said, if you lose this and this and this and this, and you lose the buildings and you lose the thrift stores, or if you were to just shut all that down, he said, that's okay. He says, because I can tell you what will happen. He said, everything that you've learned and everything that you've done is on the inside of you. It's on the inside of you now. And while it doesn't exist on the outside, it's on the inside. And what's on the inside is going to come out. And so he said, you could go somewhere else, but I can guarantee you what's going to happen. You're going to be like, we need to have a home for men. We need to start this or that. And why? Because I know how to do it. I know how to do it. And so I'm going to see the opportunities. Just like I saw them before and I worked it out before, I'm going to see them, I'm going to seize them, and what's in me is going to come out of me. But if there's nothing in you, then nothing will come out of you. And so God wants to get, if it's just a paycheck and that's all it is, when the paycheck's gone and you didn't get the skill and you didn't get the patience and you didn't learn the process, then you won't have anything. But see, I could go out here today, you could just take Regenesis, and I could go up to Washington, D.C., and another Regenesis would pop out of me. It happened. You could send me to California, and another Regenesis is going to come out of me. I know how to do this. This is what you do. It's in me. Do you understand? Ministry is in me. It's a muscle. It's instinctive. That's what you want to get to, because now you can go through this world and you can manifest what is in you. And you can go anywhere and no one can take it from you. That's true riches. Now you have purpose. Now you have whatever, and there's not a man on earth that can take it from you. Nobody can take it. They might be able to take my building, but they can't take the fact that I know how to go out and get another one. They can't take my integrity and my honorableness and my trustworthiness, so they can't take the relationships that I have with people and the trust that I've built up with people, and that I can go and speak to this person and that person. And because I'm a man of integrity, those people will lend me money. I don't need to go to the bank. They can't take that from me. You understand? This can be gone and that can be gone, and everything on the surface and everything exterior can be removed. But the value is what has been worked on the inside of me. And no one can take that. So when you're here and when you're looking for blessing, really understand what it is. Understand what is the real value, right? Understand what the counterfeit and quick and easy is going to be presented to you. But that's the counterfeit, because you don't get the true riches, which is what's deposited on the inside, which can't ever be spent. It can't ever be, it's limitless now. You understand? If you know how, I tell my sons and my daughters, and Jordan, this is for you. when you know how to make money, when you need money, you go make it. Make it. It's like making a cake. You hungry? Go make a cake. You know how, right? Go make it. And my kids know how to make money. That can never be taken from them. They're always looking, they see opportunities, they see, the world through investing, sowing and reaping, working and receiving, right? They understand leverage, they understand, how to leverage their actions, how to leverage their relationships, how to build a sphere of influence, that you sit at the feet of people, you sow honor, you reap favor. They understand this stuff. And that's how you make money. Going out and getting a job is not how you make money. That's how you earn a living. There's a difference between creating an income and earning an income. I never thought of putting it like that, but that's a good thought. You can chew on that one. There's a difference between creating an income and earning an income. We'll leave it at that. With a minute to spare. Get out of here. You got to go unload mattresses.